love this Mahomes prop. Sorry. I am very convinced that they're going to play more man coverage. Why wouldn't they? Because Mahomes and everyone, they're all struggling against man, especially, I guess, lately Kelsey, Rashee Rice. So I think they're going to play more man coverage because if they play their normal zone, then Mahomes and Rashee are going to eat him alive. It's going to catch like 12 balls. So that said, if they're playing more man, that will make things more difficult for Mahomes and his receivers, which will make him more inclined to run. And of course, up against man coverage, it's more conducive to giving up quarterback production, bottom line. So I love this one. Over 20.5. I feel very good about that one. Hey, we are in the month of November. Do not mess with us on unders in November because we're 20-5. Now, we don't win them all. We lost Xavier Legette by one catch the other night. I can't do it. I can't go over Joe Burrow, who hasn't played in 2.5 months. I'm going under 254.5. I understand that he's the man. I've always been a Burrow guy, but he's also been a notorious slow starter. He's not going to have T. Higgins. And Baltimore, for what it's worth, I know they're beatable, but they are giving up. They haven't allowed a quarterback to account for multiple touchdowns in 6 straight. So they are giving up the 8th most passing yards per game to quarterbacks, but a lot of that's earlier in the season. They've been better lately. I know Burrow erupted he threw for 1 million yards in this match. He almost threw for 800 yards in this match. Actually, he did. What am I saying? He did. I can't see it here. I mean, it'll be close, but here's the other angle. Finally, we might actually get a game where the Ravens are able to truly feed Derrick Henry. Truly feed him. It's in Baltimore, right? The Bengals have been one of the worst run defenses in the league, if not the worst, lately especially. So that it is in Baltimore. That is an angle that, maybe Derrick Henry, they possess the ball and minimize the number of dropbacks and snaps and time of possession and all that. So I'm going to go under here. We are projecting 276 over at fantasypoints.com. So that is a little scary, but got to call them the way I see them. Like Xavier Worthy. This is all back to what I said about the man coverage stuff. Even if they don't, it's not a bad schematic matchup for Worthy overall. As we just outlined, I can call it up again. Let's see here. He averages 1.70 yards per route against cover 3, which is not bad. But I think they'll play more man. And by the way, as we mentioned in the wide receiver corner matchups, Deron Bland, that is a choice matchup. So I'm thinking one big play to Worthy here over the top. And all that. Look, he played better last week. He's been playing better. Next up, Jake Ferguson. We're going to do it, even though Opta AI and fantasy points are pretty darn close. And it's not the greatest schematic matchup. This is more of a gut feel. And Stephen O'Rourke brought this point up yesterday. I do believe that the Chiefs are a little Belichickian with how they're playing defensively nowadays. In other words, what do you do best? What's your staple? We're going to look to take that out. So I think they're going to devote resources to slowing down George and or CD, therefore opening things up a little bit for Jake Ferguson. I also think that the Chiefs are going to do well and that they'll probably be playing from behind. So I like Ferguson. It's a very doable number, 36.5. Next up, we were in on this yesterday. Christian Watson, 46.5. Now, the question is, would I go in on it now? Because it's really been bet up. 54.5, which, I mean, that's 8 yards. That's a pretty significant bump up. I think I probably would. I don't feel as good, though, which is why it's not higher up on my list, quite frankly. But we're already in on that from yesterday. And then also, again, trying to be a little weird, perhaps a little sneaky. I do think Dallas will play more man. And if they do, that's not great for Kelsey and Rashee Rice. Very good for Xavier Worthy. Also good for Hollywood Brown, believe it or not, who also has looked a little bit better lately. And this is doable, over 15.5. Not the greatest odds, but I saw that one and I'm gonna play it. Next up, Chase Brown. I don't love this, but I do like it certainly enough to play it. No question about it. Over 18.5 receiving yards. The reason I'm not like completely enamored is obviously we're likely getting Samaje Perine back this week, but Burrow checks it down to Brown big time, and Baltimore gives up the 6th most receiving yards per game to running backs. I actually went back and I looked, and in this schedule adjusted tool, looking at the last 5 weeks, the Ravens, here it is, give up the most schedule adjusted fantasy points per game to running backs in the passing game. The most. That is why we're going in on Chase Brown with this very, very doable number of over 18.5. Next up, we got a couple of unders. Ballsy. We're going to do it because it is November. We're going to go under on Georgie Pickens, under 75.5. I do think he, number one, doesn't have the greatest schematic matchup against the 2 high looks. I do think he'll also see a lot more of Trent McDuffie. And I also, believe it or not, if you're Steve Spagnuolo and you have a choice, you're like, all right, we got to take out one receiver, George or CD. I'm looking to take out George. George has been more dangerous. That said, it'll probably be a good game for CD Lamb. But we're going to go under 75.5. It's very, very scary. No doubt about it. But, again, I've been forcing the unders. No doubt. I've been forcing it, trying to find my favorite under for these games. And we are 20-5. So we're going to go with under 75.5. And we're also going to go under on Amon-Ra St. Brown. The Packers are very good against slot receivers. Trying to find the damn number here. There it is. They give up the fewest receiving yards per game to slot receivers, fewest yards per route run. Good schematic matchup, but Javon Bullard has been really good. So we're going to go under there. And then last but not least, Mike Gesicki. As we mentioned, when they don't have T. Higgins or Jamar Chase, Mike Gesicki is a thing. So we're going to go over 33.5. Very quickly, touchdown props will pop out. Patty Mahomes anytime at plus 380. Again, I like him to run. Dak Prescott plus 600. I think he's going to run a little bit more. They do play man. And then Mike Gesicki plus 360. These are all massive swings for the fences. 3 Thursday specials. I'll start with David Montgomery hitting 50 yards. He's due. I think they'll win the game. And Green Bay got run on by the Minnesota Vikings last week, specifically Jordan Mason. Xavier Worthy, I like him to make a big play, and maybe he'll get a little bit more than that. 70-plus receiving yards, plus 375. And last but not least, Isaiah Likely. Bengals terrible against tight ends. They do play a good amount of zone. Likely is your zone beater. Maybe somebody comes out of nowhere, and that's Likely. Good luck with all the plays.
Thanks for watching, but don't let the betting insights end here. If you want an extra edge this football season, you can get a month of VSiN Pro right now absolutely free. That means access to our betting insights, analysis, and tools like our betting splits at 0 cost to you. Click the link in the description to sign up.